Hello and welcome to the Emperor's Rejects, your podcast about all things 40k. I'm your host Kuyo with your co-host
Foster, y'all.
And Shiki.
Today we're back and we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite superhuman, transhuman, death-killing people, Space Marines. The new Space Marine codexes have dropped and their new supplements. Currently, we have Ultramarines and Whitescars out, but we just got some tidbits about Iron Hands and Raven Guard. They're going black on back.
Well, I'm really excited for those Iron Hands, to be honest with you. They look pretty strong.
I look forward to briefly seeing a lot of them and then seeing almost none of them.
And by strong, you mean broken, because no one's ever going to kill an Iron Hands vehicle again.
Oh, that's heretical propaganda, and you know it.
All right, well, this episode is just going to be a quick overview of our thoughts on new Space Marines, games we've played, some theoretical dice we've thrown, and a math hammer, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. We're going to be talking about all these things in a competitive sense, of course, with some ideas on how you can have some fun with it, too.
All right, let's get into some of our favorite combos and ideas we have from this new codex. Shiki, what do you think? What's a combo you want to display for our audience?
Well, so far there's a bunch of very basic things. The sheer combination of having a lot of Phobos units mixed with the new war suits basically mean you can control the flow of the game right from turn one. You don't even need like 3. I know Foster wants to do 3 war suits right at the get-go. To me, I feel that's actually overkill. 2 can probably do the job fine. They can handle most chaff. Turn 1, you basically have a threat on the field that will either melt through or severely wound the things at the front. If someone has a important vehicle out of position, you can go ahead and smash them. Or, well, at least mildly irritated enough to get to look at you. And with some Phobos support, because they also have the advanced deployment, you have your librarian to be able to either, if you're playing properly and playing Ultramarines from Ultramar, then you have a ready CP battery or just as likely telepathic assault to get some more wounds off the get-go with some incursors or infiltrators. The opponent can't ignore you. They had to deal with these units on their front line, which basically gives you board control right from the get-go, at which point it doesn't really matter what your backfield is, since they're going to have to deal with that first. You can just go ahead and shuffle things around however you need it.
Sounds good. What are you thinking, Foster?
I'm thinking about bringing the big guns, to be honest with you. I'm thinking that Ultramarine aggressors are going to be dominating the field. I think that ultimately utilizing the repulsor to its maximum with the Ultramarines is going to be what everybody's going to be doing for a long time. Shuffling some aggressors inside, dropping them off where they need to go, double tapping down infantry. I think that ultimately what you're going to be finding is Ultramarines are going to control the field through sheer amount of firepower.
And why are you choosing aggressors with Ultramarines?
Oh, well, as we all know, it's one of those, as long as you're not running, you count as if you stood still. So you get that double tap ability on your opponent. Run 5 aggressors at your opponent, you're getting at minimum 60 shots plus 12d6 additional shots on top of that. It's a ludicrous amount of firepower for how much you pay for them, for under 200 points. On top of that, they are T5 with 15 wounds at a 3-up save. They are super difficult to shift. You can't really hit them from range because they're already on top of you if they jumped out of repulsor. And, 18 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but when your opponent's moving forward as well, you're going to clash in the middle at some point. And 23-inch threat range is a pretty big threat range when you think about, well, they've got to come to me anyway to take this midfield. They're supreme midfield duelists. They can hide inside of buildings, and Lord help whoever came into that building with them, because they're just going to smack you around with their power fists.
Sounds about right. Well, this shouldn't be a surprise for all of you, but I'm rolling Ultramarines because Ultramarines are just better than you. Ultramarines, Sergeant Kronos inside of Whirlwind Scorpions. It is just beautiful. That is just Terra made manifest. Having a Whirlwind Scorpion that's hitting on twos. If I'm in a bubble of a commander, or in my case, how I'm going to have Gulliman next to him, it's going to be hitting on twos, re-rolling ones, never degrading. With the stratagem, I can get 3 shots off, strength 6, -2, 2 damage. Is going to be beautiful. I think it's kind of overkill because right now the big thing about Marines is they kill infantry. Like, they just slaughter all of your opponent's infantry. But I think it's going to be pretty nice to have not having to worry about LOS, killing all of your strings. And also I can do double damage and work on some lighter tanks.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Kuyo. I think from a competitive sense, what you're going to find is Marines are going to be the bane of horde armies. They're going to be the bane of infantry-based armies. And against armies that don't utilize those, they're going to be able to throw enough dice at your opponent to at least knock off a couple wounds every turn from larger enemies. But those larger enemies can't then go into buildings to take them out. So it's still a win-win situation at that point. So I think they're going to be very strong in the meta. I wouldn't say they're broken, but I think they're going to be very, very strong.
No, after today's sneak peek, I am saying that Iron Hands are broken.
Oh, I think that's reactionary.
Okay. Let's give this scenario. All right, you have any dreadnought that you want. Okay, you can have your Leviathan dreadnoughts with your storm cannon arrays, or whatever. What do you call it?
I think storm cannon array. You hit the nail on the head.
Okay, so you're getting 20 shots. All right, you're hitting on twos. You don't have to worry about moving anymore because you have the new Devastator Doctrine things with Iron Hands that you can move and shoot heavy weapons and be fine. You're standing next to something.
Just like Ultramarines.
Well, in their Tactical Doctrine, not in their Devastating Doctrine. So it's different. It's different. It makes a difference because you're still getting that +1 to your AP. But
I say it's plus Ultra.
But on top of that, you give your little relic to a character. Oh no, all vehicles around him now take -1 damage. Okay.
Okay, real quick. Let me stop you because I hear a lot of people bringing that relic up, and I'm not going to argue because it is ridiculously good. Do not get me wrong, but it's within 3 inches.
Hey, 3 inches is a lot.
You're only going to be able to affect a maximum of 3 guys generally.
That doesn't matter.
Unless you want a blob of dreadnoughts just surrounding one poor tech marine.
You act like
I think I saw that video one time.
People will do that. It'll be a blob protecting that one tech marine.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be really good. Do not get me wrong. But I think people are looking at this and thinking, oh, this stone just gave my entire army of vehicles 1 less damage. But I literally read somebody yesterday talking about how they're going to use it to keep their storm talons alive. The things that move a minimum 20 inches alive.
Okay.
Come on now.
I don't know how that's going to work, but maybe he's found a way. But
I know how they probably thinking about it. They're thinking about giving it to a tech marine on a bike. And just advancing the whole time.
It's the only way you could do it. But it's like I said, it's just one of those. It's going to be good. I'm not arguing on that end. I just don't think it's going to break the game like a lot of people think it's going to do.
Well, it's going to make certain units nigh unkillable. Because
that's fair.
If you have that on Leviathan, and then you roll the strat where it says, "Oh, half damage for dreadnoughts on top of that," and
the max amount of damage you can do to that dread during that turn with the las cannon is 2.
Now it is kind of funny because I think somebody did the math on this. I think somebody said that you need like 32 las cannons to kill a Leviathan Dreadnought in that turn. And I think that's conservative.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
not conservative. I think that's like, oh, well, that's if I did really, really well. That's optimistic. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry,
You'd
y'all.
actually be far better off trying to kill it with a single damage attacks.
Yeah, oddly enough, in this instance, you would be better off with Ultramarine Bolter Fire.
Yeah, probably. And that's not
you might as well bring the aggressors at that point.
And are you factoring in also their feel no pain?
That's factored in with the feel no pain, yeah.
But
yeah, I'm not saying it's not good, and I'm not saying that you won't see it. I mean, I plan on probably running myself because the moment I saw those rules, I was like, oh man, my tank heart loves these rules. Like, I love them.
He finally came around to my way of thinking how the Redemptor Dreadnought isn't terrible. It took giving something that makes him almost invincible to make him agree with me, but now he does.
I'm looking at these rules, and for the Redemptor Dreadnought, I think that they are very, very strong. 155 points for 18 heavy bolter shots with -2 at 24-inch range, or just 12 at 36 while moving forward is really good. I think it's going to be great. I really wish that they'd gone ahead and changed this fist, but maybe that would have pushed him over the top.
Okay.
Well, I just don't like D6 damage without a minimum barrier. At some point, it's like, well, why did my Redemptor Dreadnought come up here and just flick your guys on the nose and go, boop, the snoot?
Because at some point, if everything is now doing set damage and there's no variance, why are we using dice?
That's fair. I'm doing the math real quick on this because I want to look at exactly how much a Ironclad Dreadnought costs. Because the more I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that the -1 damage is going to be most suited on an actual Leviathan because they're already so tough. I actually think that putting them on a Ironclad Dreadnought might actually be the way to go. Having them surrounded by a tech priest or something surrounded by an Ironclad Dreadnought. Because if you give him the Chain Fist and a Hurricane Bolter, he comes out to 122 points. That 122 points gets you a T8 body with 8 wounds, 5 attacks on the charge, 3s to hit, and his weapon is strength 12, -4, 4 straight damage.
Weak. You're thinking too weak, Foster.
Oh, yeah?
Think about it. If you want something to be tough, if you want something to not die, think bigger. Go to the Land Raider series, an Achilles with a 4-up info. Toughness 8 or toughness 9 from a librarian. And it's taken 1 less damage from everything. It doesn't care. And it moves every turn. It doesn't suffer any penalties anyway. It had Power of the Machine Spirit, but now it has an extra AP.
Stop. One man can only get so erect.
And then you add 2 more Land Raiders, maybe 2 Redeemers. They'll do more chaff killing. You have the 1 Achilles killing every tank ever. You can't stop that many multi-melts. Okay, you can, but you can convince your opponent that you're invincible, and they aren't moving that fast, so your Tech Marine can go ahead and repair them, or have multiple Tech Marines. They're taking less damage. You're repairing everything. Nothing's dying, but your opponent's out of models. Your only downside is you have no troops, because you spent everything on Land Raiders.
I mean, we could do a Land Raider rush.
I was going to say, this might actually bring us back to Land Raider rush, because you could legitimately run 3 Land Raider Achilles on the floor.
No, if I recall, isn't Achilles a relic?
Yeah, they're a relic.
So that's why I
I
said
don't-
you will want you'll probably want
I
a Achilles and two
don't
others.
think they are.
It's time to check this.
Well, I know
Yeah, I was gonna
Spartans.
say check it real quick
I
because
know.
I'm 95% positive they aren't.
I know for sure Spartans are relics, and I thought that Achilles were too.
No, the Spartan is a
Hold
relic
on.
because it's the Lord of War.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, check it real quick because, like I said, if it's not, you could literally run 4 Achilles. They're 355 points. Well, not 4 of them, 3 of them. They're 355 points each, which then will net you. Jesus, 12
not a relic.
multi-meltas. Yep. So you're literally getting yourself 3 units with 19 wounds, a 4-up invuln save. It's a 2-up, 4-up with Power of the Machine Spirit, indirect fire capabilities, 12 multi-melta shots, or 12 multi-melta shots in total. And then its other gun has either 12 across all 3 of them, so 4 per guy, shatter shell shots, which are strength 8, -2, 3 damage, or you'll be getting per tank 4d3 indirect fire shots. Literally, if you are playing the shatter shell because you're staying in the Devastator
Shadow
Doctrine,
Shell.
you are literally hitting them with thunder hammers from 24 inches away with reroll ones to hit.
See, like I said, you're thinking too small, Foster.
Apparently. And the best part is, with a Tech Marine, because Tech Marines are dirt cheap, you could fill out a spearhead with these for a little over 1,000 points.
Why would you need to? They can be a battalion. You have the 3 Achilles, you have 2 Tech Marines on bikes, and then you have troops in each Land Raider.
Well, what I'm saying is that you could do the troops and the Tech Marines on bikes in a separate battalion for more CP.
I mean, I guess you could do this. I don't know if this is going to be winning any GTs, but it would be hilarious.
Well, I'm looking at what we said earlier. What do Marines do really well? They kill chaff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this case, this list is not going to kill chaff all that well.
Well, what I'm saying
it'll
is
kill them, but
what I'm saying is my biggest issue so far with Marines has been, how am I going to kill my enemy's tanks? Now I'm throwing out, at minimum, if I want to kill their tanks, 24 strength 8 shots a turn with reroll of 1s at 3 damage for the normal gun. And unless your opponent's tank has an invuln save, they're not getting a save of any kind against the Achilles' multi-meltas. So those multi-meltas literally have a 34-inch threat range. They've got -5 on their AP because they're intact. They're in Devastator Doctrine with more damage. Like, your opponent's going to have a really tough time surviving the onslaught of Land Raider Achilleses from the Iron Hands. It's going to be tough. And if they try to return fire, congratulations, they're all armored as if they're Imperial Knights.
But yes, as I was saying before I was interrupted, you don't need to have a spearhead because you can have 2 battalions. Since Land Raiders can't take Primaris anyway, you fill your Land Raiders with something basic like a Attack Marine squad or some scouts to just seize an objective after you move forward. And then you have intercessors or incursors as your other battalion's main troops, since you're going to have 2 Tech Marines and, at minimum, possibly 3, and then 1 captain.
Well, how about we do an episode of Proxy Hammer and try this list out on the table for our fans?
Do we have enough Land Raiders?
I do. I've got 3 Land Raiders. One of them is busted up that I was going to try and convert into an Achilles anyway. So, Yep, we're going to do it for our fans. I hope y'all are ready.
All right, Land Raider Rush Ho!
I only have myself to blame. On the other hand, it beats Foster trying to make too many dreadnoughts work.
Nice.
You know me well.
Well, let's move over to another argument you were all having in a chat earlier when it came to the rules of Raven Guard. Because it seems like y'all are polar opposite on thinking that the Raven Guard are good.
I think they are, in fact, a sleeper hit. People overlook them only to realize that they are fantastic from the tactical standpoint. Yeah, admittedly, they don't have the sheer oomph of Iron Hands. They don't have any, oh, look, we're invincible with, like, the stone. But there's, with that one psychic power, right there, they already have a tool that is all but unmatched on Marines of being able to get characters where they need to be when they need to be there. They have good defensive options, and the sheer amount of damage they can do to characters do severe damage to Nightless, to Genestealer Cult, to Chaos, especially Chaos right now, since it's almost all characters there with the Triple Lord Disco and the 3 character knights. Raven Guard have all the tools to rip those apart. They're very good against the current character meta.
Now, at first I did think, hey, these guys are going to suck. I don't like them. But to be honest with you, talking with Shiki about this, it's actually kind of making sense now. Some of our biggest competitors in this meta are literally character spam lists. It's, Chaos putting out all those characters. It's Genestealer Cults with, I think they generally what is it, like 10 to 13 characters?
Let's see. My current Genestealer Cult list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 characters.
So 11 characters. That means that you're getting +1 to hit and wound against a good chunk of the army. Enemy knights. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, how often do we see just a basic knight on the field that wasn't turned into a character somehow? Yeah, it is what it is, but at that point, it's also I'm looking at it from this point of view. If you want your guys to be really good, they're going to be a character. There's no two ways about that.
And it's also highly effective against the ever great Astra Militarum. Oh, look, there's the Primaris Psyker. Oh, look, there's the Bonehead Ogre. Oh, look, there's the Commissar or the Commander. Oh, look, they're gone. Thanks, Eliminators.
Yep. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things I look at that I think to myself, man, they do the job right. They got it going on, and life is good.
And again, it's not just about that anti-character. Their characters have the wonderful tool of Shadow Step. And let's not underestimate, like, Grey Knights are absolutely awful. Like, I feel bad for them. They need so many buffs. But one of their actual good things is mobility with, or at least how Gave and Finney could work. But in this case, it's, oh, hey, look, we need a character to buff this one unit that we want to shoot the next phase. You can now send your captain there if he's in range of your librarian. If you just have 2 librarians with that power on the field, they can cover most of your army to get people where they need to go, where you need those rerolls.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, the 9 inches, it's fairly limited, but you're right. You can literally get your buffs.
It's an 18-inch power. You just can't.
Yeah.
They can only be sent 9 inches away from enemy units, and Raven Guard, for the most part, are probably going to end up a shooting list anyway. Like, they have a few combat things, but they're probably going to be shooting.
Did I misread it? Because I read it when I first saw it as they can only be moved up to 9 inches.
No, they can be. It's a teleport power.
Okay, well then I retract what I said. Yeah, fling your captains at them. Make them missiles.
I described this to you earlier, and I was like, Hey, it's literally the dark crystal from Thousand Suns made into a psychic power.
Yeah, they appear 9 inches
You
away
remove
from
it.
a.
Yeah, you remove the unit from the battlefield and set anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from any enemy models.
Yeah, well, I misread it earlier. I thought I was still jiving with you, but it's one of those. When I first read it, I thought it was just you can move them up to 9 inches. I misread it. I retract my previous statement. They're going to be pretty awesome.
Not so you thought it was a 9 inch movement?
Yeah, I thought it was just a 9 inch teleport forward. That's what I thought.
Yeah, no,
So.
this is hello. Would you like to have a chaplain dreadnought launched into your face?
I think that's called the Dark Surprise.
It's called the Reign of Thousand Suns. Demon Prince is doing that is over because Raven Guard do it better with a stronger. Okay, not as a different durable unit, but a chaplain dreadnought's way scarier in combat.
And if you give him Shadow Step, oh no, I can't be Overwatch, so now I'm going to eat your breakfast.
I think also what we need to look at here is their eliminators are going to be terrifying against everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can get up to +2 on certain characters. Now, granted, it's only 2 mortal wounds if they connect with their 4s, but that's still not nothing. It truly isn't. Sometimes you'll find that you just have a couple wounds that you need to rip off of an opponent, and there you go. Or
well, here is why you'll probably use the hyperfrag rounds way more than you usually would for other things, because usually you don't do it because it's AP0, who cares? Yeah. But it's going to be AP1. You're going to be using it during the first round. It's D3 shots, and you're getting basically the half the bonus of the execution round added to the hyperfrag because you're getting +1 to hit against a character. So it makes it kind of into a hybrid of how hyperfrag and executioner usually work. It gives you more shots, so you can potentially put out even more wounds on the character's turn 1.
And for certain armies, losing your character turn 1, that's pretty devastating.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, actually, you bring up a good point about the hyperfrags. If you want to take out something like Ahriman, you're not going to be using the Mortis rounds anyway. Because if I remember right, don't they still do one wound per shot?
The executioners deal 1 damage. Hyperfrag deals 1 damage. Mortis does D3, so you have the chance of not doing anything.
Gotcha.
Well, you'll do 1, but at that point you may as well use the hyperfrag because more shots is better, I think, for a sniper attack than hoping for more damage.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, even if you just run 2 squads of executioners, well, eliminators, you are now getting 6d3 shots that, if you're targeting out Ahriman, are hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, correct? Yeah, wounding on 3s.
Yeah, wounding on 3s.
Or you can do 4d3 shots that are hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s against Ahriman, and he's still just going to get his 3-up invuln save because you weren't going into AP anyway. That's pretty good. On average, that's, what is that? 8 shots, right? So I want to check my math on that? On 4d3?
4d3, yeah.
Yeah. So 8 shots, hit 7 times, wound 6 times. You're going to rip off a couple wounds there every turn. They're going to have to worry about that. Or you could just mortal spam them down with the Mortis rounds.
Sure, you will be doing an extra mortal wound on 5-ups with the Raven Guard bonus.
Yeah. So that actually might not be a bad alternative as well.
Although, keep in mind, that bonus is turn 2 onward.
Yeah,
So that will not be as that will not necessarily be as good for turn one kills. Although let's be honest, eliminators are great for turn one kills, regardless.
yeah.
So
You can
wait a
target
minute.
something else. Target something else to use that with, and then turn over to your mortis rounds, and just go from there. Have a field day. As Perfect Cell said, get a purge going. So I'm pretty excited for these. I think it's going to be fantastic getting some new Marine stuff out. Like I said, at first I was not too impressed. After talking to Shiki for a bit, kind of opened my eyes to some of the possibilities of Raven Guard. I don't think they're going to be a chapter for me, but that's also because I don't. I like heavy weapons. I like tanks. I like big guns because they never tire. So
And me, I like tricks because I'm on a limited budget, so I'm stuck with the infantry that I have.
And with the
but
Ultramarines, I'm just better than everyone else.
It's true. That's
yeah.
why I've been playing Ultramarines.
And
Well, Ultramarine successor.
that's the other thing. I think that what you're going to find is unless you really want to play quote unquote the main chapter, in certain instances it might actually be better to take a different chapter. It might be a better thing to take a successor. Plus 3 inches on your guns, that's massive. Bolter fusillade, that is a ridiculous power. It truly is. Considering the majority of Marine firepower is bolters.
It basically means that further will further. Bleh, I'm being redundant. Will further increase the viability of Raven Guard successor eliminators, since unless you're using the last pistol, their sniper rifle is a bolt weapon.
Yep.
So they don't need a captain to help them.
And I think that's the big thing is I think for a lot of Marine players, I know at least for me, one of the main things to worry about is, am I tethered to my captain? Where is my captain at to make me hit more often?
And
With bolter, you don't need it.
As I found during my test game with Richard, where I made good use of bolter fuselage to do things such as gunning down his Vindicare assassin.
Actually, real quick, I think that y'all should do a little bit of a recap on that because I found that game very interesting as to what happened with a more traditional Imperial Guard list versus the new Marines.
Okay, would you like to cover your end first, Richard?
Well, from what I remember, I went. Did I go first?
I got first.
Oh yeah, you went first. First turn, I lost almost all my infantry. And then he killed pretty much all of my Marines. Rushed forward with the Invictus warsuits. Had to deal with them. Lost my Vindicare first turn because the strings in front of him got obliterated, and then the Phobos units took him out. Yeah, it was an uphill battle with a lot of threats up front, and me losing scoring and strings meant it was a difficult battle from the beginning.
Essentially, the greatest bonus I find for the Incursors is that while they lack the ability to keep away reinforcement bubbles like infiltrators, and of course you can't do these shenanigans with auto wounding that you can with infiltrators. There's something to be said about essentially having the Imperial Fist doctrine on them, no matter what, because they already ignore cover, and their ballistic skill and to hit is not adjusted. So things like the Vindicare or say the Psychic Assassin that basically really want you to not be able to hit them. If you got a good shot at them, you can take them down, which is exactly what happened when I gunned down the Vindicare after I had the Warsuit wipe out the units in front of it, along with some fire support from some rapier batteries.
And then even after that, it was super frustrating for my knight to even fire at things because with the transhuman stratagem, my knight was like throwing pebbles instead of his heavy, high-powered rockets.
It took you 2 turns to wipe out my Devastator Centurions. You got really lucky on your it would have taken you longer if you hadn't gotten really lucky your second go around. And the incursors that were right in front of your knight actually managed to survive with one guy left.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was it was a painful match of trying to kill tons and tons of T4 bodies.
There was something to be said about the Marine durability. Admittedly, as the battle wore on, I had less and less that could actually damage things like his knight or his vehicles, but I didn't really need to. Yeah, I couldn't stop his Bulgren. They were going to go wherever they wanted, but they weren't scoring units, so all I would have had to do was just keep funneling guys to the objective, and I would have kept the objective.
And I think that's their strength, is essentially kill off the things that can actually hold objectives, tap dance on the objectives, and your opponent can't do anything about it. Yeah, they'll kill them at some point, but who cares? You own the objective.
I care. Every life is sacred, as long as they're a transhuman monstrosity.
Wait, aren't Ogrins transhuman monstrosity?
No, they're abhuman. They are less than human.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
We don't accept mutants in the Marines, except when we do, like the Blood Angels.
And the Space Wolves.
There are no wolves on Fenris.
And the Black Dragons, and the Soul Drinkers.
And the Raven Guard,
And, I mean, would you still consider the Iron Hands who literally replace the majority of their body with machine parts? Are they still human?
They are in fact the ultimate version of a transhuman. They have moved so far beyond humanity, they become the perfect machine. Praise the Omnissiah!
Well, they've just replaced their body with wind, because you're going to see so many Iron Hands in the next couple of months. You're going to get sick of them destroying you with their metal might.
It's 6th edition all over again.
Praise the Omnissiah. 6 up, feel no pain. I got this, bro.
And on that, I think we're going to close this episode out. It's going to be a short one for you all. We're going to try to get back in rotation and have these bi-weekly episodes so you can be caught up on all your 40K-isms. All right.
Good night, then.
Yes. Adios, y'all.
All right. Make sure to like this, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you around. As always, the Emperor protects.